Hi, everyone, and welcome to this Discover Bloomberg event. We're very happy to have you all here joining. So my name is Matilda Smares, and I'm part of the recruitment team here at Bloomberg. I'm so very happy to see you all just joining the webinar now. We have with us three business representatives from three different teams, actually. So we have Kina Patel from the analytics department. We also have Alexis de Giardia from our global data team, and we have François Bouquet from our Bloomberg customer support team. So we'll learn more about their career so far at Bloomberg within their own kind of department, and how it was for them when they first kind of look into their initial first full-time job. So you'll hear more about them directly, but I'm going to start with a small presentation on Bloomberg just to give you an overview. Feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation, throughout the panel discussion that we'll have afterwards. We'll try and make sure that we have some time at the end to answer all of your questions as well. So this session will be divided in three main section. So the first one is me kind of introducing Bloomberg, our business, our culture, giving you more info about that. Then we'll hear about our panelists and their career so far. So from kind of 220 to 25 until 245, and we'll make sure and we'll try to have some time at the end. So from 245 to 50 to answer any of your questions. All right, so let's crack on. So Bloomberg, what is Bloomberg? And for that, I'd like to have your view, actually. If you can all type in the question chat box what you think Bloomberg is, and then I can crack on with explaining you what actually we provide as a business. So any guess on what is Bloomberg, what type of services or products that we provide? If you want to if you want to add that as a question, maybe financial news, yes. Database, research and analytics, absolutely. Asset management, maybe, okay. Financial news and information, financial data, yes, absolutely. Any other guess? Analytics portal, professional research, okay. So Bloomberg, and I guess we can dive straight into the terminal, which is our main product that we provide to our clients. Bloomberg is a tech firm at heart. So we provide the technology and we provide the data within it for our clients to use. These data covers the financial markets as a whole, but also economical data and other data that would be of interest for our clients. So, we do hold data on COVID, for example, on other kind of non-usual data. So overall, we are a technology firm providing financial data, news, and also analytics, as some of you have said. So we provide actually the tools to be able to analyze this data and draw a conclusion out of it. So this on this slide just shows you how the terminal looks like back in the days. So when Michael Bloomberg founded the company in 1981, that was after some experience he had in a bank where it was made redundant. He could feel that there was a discrepancy in the information that professionals in the financial market were getting. So that was all very dependent on what you would have as information on the phone or read in the newspaper, but there was really a lack of transparency in the market at that time in terms of accessing the information, but also the transparency of that information. Is that accurate data? Is that a reliable data that I can use? And also making it more user-friendly, I was going to say, for our, for the clients at the time and still nowadays, to be able to analyze this data and actually use it in their day-to-day job and make, decision on the back of that. So that's how Michael Bloomberg and his partners at the time actually put together the terminal. And this is how it looks now currently. So this is, much more advanced, as you can see, with all of the different features that we have. But still at heart, we are a technology firm looking to improve the technological aspect of that product, plus the data coverage, of course, that we have, expanding the type of data, but also the quality that we provide. So moving on to, and of course, this also includes all of the financial news stories provided by our news reporters and our researchers as well in the different fields that we're covering, such as, economics, research as well in the energy sector, the commodity sectors, etc. So we try to, cover as much as we can. This is the different departments that we have at Bloomberg. So if you think of, the terminal being the main source of revenue for us and the main product, we do have different kind of departments working on the terminal and kind of that end product. So we do have the engineering team, which is in charge of really kind of creating that backbone, the terminal, so the technology. And then we have the global data team that is in charge of fitting the terminal with all of the relevant data and accurate data we can find out there to provide to our customers in a timely manner as well, so that we are the first to provide that information. That what makes us the leader onto the market as well. We have the analytics team, who is in charge of really making sure that our clients leverage the tool, make sure that they have the best usage of the terminal. So that's through guiding them when they have questions, but it also making sure that the training and their knowledge of the terminal is at the best, and sometimes also rerouting some of the functions they may not know about that could be of interest for them. So it's really making sure they leverage their use of the terminal. It's so much, so many functions that no one individual can actually learn all about it. So we make sure that we have the team readily available 24/7 to answer any questions they may have around the usage of the terminal functions. And we do have also teams in charge of the support more generally, in terms of technical support or onboarding them if they're a new user to the terminal, any, again, technical support they may have. So that would be also from the Bloomberg customer support team that would be in charge of that, in addition to guiding anybody interested in, getting in touch with Bloomberg. So being routed to the right point person in the firm. So in Bloomberg customer support team, you'll know the company inside out, just to know the best person who to direct this person to. In the financial product section as well, so the blue area at the top, we would have as well the sales team. So this, of course, this team is comprised of different kind of account managers in charge of making sure that, again, we are covering as many clients as possible, so expanding the client portfolio that we have, but also increasing the offer that we have with each of our existing customers. And the program that we have, and we'll talk a little bit further in this webinar, is actually a program where you start in analytics and you start guiding our clients through the usage of the terminal. You actually also deepen your knowledge into the terminal and to our clients' usage, and then you move into sales, becoming a successful account manager, because you know our clients inside out and the terminal inside out, so you're able to best advise them. We do also have the news and research department, again in charge of sourcing the news for us and making that available for our terminal users, but also more broadly through our different channels that we have, podcasts, but also the different print or websites as well. So moving on to the next slide in terms of our values. So as I said, we were created back in 1981 by Michael Bloomberg and his partners at the time. And since then, what made us a successful company, and our revenue have been growing since we started in 1981. So just to tell you how successful these 40 years have been, this is also due to the way that we work. So not just the fact that, we have the best product on the market, but also the way that we actually operate. And this is due to the 4 values that we all have, I think, kind of embody. Sorry, this has been changed. Just before, I think we can all change the slide, so just be careful for the panelists if you're touching at your keyboard, that can change the slide. So in terms of the different values, so innovation is of course at the heart, as I told you. At the time, Michael Bloomberg saw a gap in the market in terms of transparency and accessibility of that data, so that was an innovation when we started, and since then we've been constantly looking at how can we make our product better in terms of the technology itself, the data coverage, the news coverage, how can we make that even more impactful for clients, and how can we actually make us, staying at the level we are, meaning the leader on the market in terms of a technology and financial data provider. So we are really looking into people able to bring that innovation mindset into the teams, and looking at the way we do things and what can we do differently, and how can this actually impact positively our clients. Collaboration is key because we think innovation doesn't come from just one individual. We think it's actually the effort of a team. So if you're working in global data, which is, for example, innovating in the data coverage that you think could be expanded, or the quality of the data from different sources that could actually be improved, or the technology itself, you'll never be working on your own. You'll be working with other team members in your own team, but also maybe with the engineering team when it comes to improving the technological product. So it's all just a matter of a teamwork. The same with analytics, the way that they work end in end with sales, but they could also work end in end with other teams internally. So it's all a matter of collaboration, and this is really key. And this also would be an element that we would be looking at during the interviews. And all of that is just to having in mind the client. So the innovation that we bring and everything that we do every day is having the client in mind, because at the end of the day, if they're satisfied, if they want to stay with us, then that would increase potentially our pipeline of users, and then the our revenue and our ability to again innovate. So that's kind of a a positive kind of cycle that we want to continue doing, having always the customer in mind. And also, the gap that we identified back in 1981 was because Michael Bloomberg and his partners knew the market, knew their customers, knew what was lacking. And this is what we have, and we try all of our employees we encourage all of our employees to have, is really understanding inside out our clients to make sure we're able to come up with new ideas and with new solutions. And doing the right thing is around the fact that we operate in the financial market. So we operate with very sensitive information, some data that sometimes have to be handled in the right way. So doing the right thing is around the way that we operate as a business. We are a trusted provider for our clients, and we want to remain so. And so for that, ask for integrity from our team members. So that is something very important to us. But doing the right thing also comes into, as a business, we want to do the right thing for giving back to local communities and the society as a whole. And so that that is actually the way that you can live that as an employee is actually by giving back some of your time during your working hours into our philanthropic efforts. So you can give back some hours of your time into different activities, and we'll be discussing that further with the panelists. But this is the way that you can actually give back to the community. And if you spend a certain time, so 25 or 50 hours of your time with local association of your choice, then Bloomberg also gives back some money to the association of your choice. So there's kind of a two-way that you can give back. And also most of our revenues are actually, of our profits, sorry, I should say, are given back to local or to societies that we partner with. So just to tell you how important it is for us, and how strongly it is part of our DNA to give back. So this is what we'll be discussing in a minute. Diversity and inclusion is also very kind of part of our DNA. We want our workforce to represent the society that we live in. Again, we have such broad, coverage of clients that we want also our staff to represent our clients. And we think that the diversity would actually give us the ability to innovate. That is really interlinked. Having a diverse workforce will really help us to bring innovative ideas and being challenged by one another. And so that's also why it's so important. And we have different communities that you can join, whether you're part of the community, you self-identify within one of these communities, or if you just an ally of these communities and you want to learn more of the challenges maybe that they face, or to want to be part of more of the networking event they organize, or some of the external speakers they can have talk about certain subjects, etc. So this is very active in our company as well, and you would have time allowed to time in your working hours to be part of these events. And also in terms of sustainability, we're very engaging in that area as well, making ESG data an even more important part of the data we source. So we've been increasing our workforce there, but also, looking at how we impact as a business. The environment our building here is designed in a way that we try and reduce the carbon footprint that we have, looking into a zero emission by 2025. So just moving on to the different business areas that we have and that we'll be discussing today, and for which we have entry-level roles and also internship program or the Inside Week program. So we have global data, and just to give the overview, so they're in charge of providing, sourcing the data for our clients and to be fed into the terminal. So we do cover different asset classes such as equities, fixed income, also commodities, the energy as part of commodities, but also so lots of different kind of asset class that we cover, and they're in charge of really sourcing the best data possible. So the accuracy, the accuracy, the timeliness, of course, of the data is key to maintain our leadership position into the market and make sure that answer our clients' needs. And so if there is a need for expansion, they'll be also the one kind of looking into it and also expanding I'll say, not just the data, but the technology as well. So is there any new tools that we would need in relation to the data analysis? They'll be the one looking into this. And so generating insight and intelligence from the data that they source. There is a part of client engagement in that team, in the sense that any questions that would come around a data point, specifically a data set, or also clients kind of challenging the data or not understanding where it comes from, etc., they'll be directed directly to the global data representative, and so they'll be able to answer them. But also some of the data we source them actually directly from our clients. So this is also why the client engagement piece is really important. In terms of the analytics and sales program that we have, entry level, so they're in charge, as I said, to deliver, timely, accurate solution to our clients. So as the questions comes, they'll be the one first hand to answer their questions. They'll also be in charge of training our clients in terms, again, of how to best use the different functions depending on the role that they have in the firm they work for. So there'll be an opportunity within that program to develop your financial market expertise as you'll basically specialize into different areas and different asset classes, becoming an advanced specialist. And you'll also, of course, build on your product expertise, as you'll know the functions, as I said, inside out in the different marketplace. Sorry. And so moving on to the different skills that you'll be learning, you'll be able to move into sales. So as I said, as an account manager covering asset class, different type of clients. And so moving on to the last department that we'd like to mention today, the Bloomberg customer support. So for that, we'll look at people with phenomenal or exceptional customer serving skills. At anybody basically having questions for Bloomberg, they will come through the Bloomberg customer support team. Also the Bloomberg customer support representative will be in charge of onboarding our clients to the terminal first time they use it. Any technical issues they're facing, they'll be the one answering their questions. So that would be the type of duties that you'll have within that team. And fluency in a European language is also a need in that team, as we cover, especially in Europe, clients from different countries. So we want to make sure that we're able to answer in any language they want to interact with. And so like German, French, Spanish, Portuguese, etc., are the example of the language that we are looking for. And from the Bloomberg customer support team, there are lots of opportunities to grow into the analytics department, for example, or even within global data, coming with that customer service skill, but also project management and knowledge of the company. So there is definitely areas to grow within the other team as well. Moving into the kind of programs that we offer. So the Insight Week, we run 2 different programs in a year. So one in the spring, one in the summer. It's a week-long program. And so we would look for people graduating in 2023 for that program, where you'll have an insight into the different departments that we have and we've just listed here. And then the summer internship, which is a 10-week-long program. And so we have spaces for analytics and sales, but also for global data and for the Bloomberg customer support team. And full-time roles, we recruit on a rolling basis, so there is no kind of end date by which you need to apply. We recruit, all across the whole year, and it's not a graduate program as such, as it's more of a full-time entry level, because it's a full-time opportunity with no end date. So as soon as you join Bloomberg, you join it to really grow your career and start your career from there. In terms of the recruitment process, we have different stages depending on the program that you'll be applying for, but also the department. But it usually comprises of an application online where we encourage you to work on your Q&A. So the question we have for you around your motivation for the program, for the role, etc. So to work thoroughly on this. We don't ask for cover letters, but just to work on this Q&A properly. And then there'll be an HR interview, which is a pre-recorded video interview. Then if you're successful, there'll be either a language test or you'll be invited straight into an assessment day if there is no language requirements. And after this assessment day, there'll be 1 or 2 additional steps afterwards of interviews, depending again on the program, but you'll be advised on that depending on the role that you apply to. For the summer internship, we're looking for people graduating in 2022, but also in 2023 for next summer. So just so that you have that in mind. Great. So moving on to the panel discussion. So as I said, we have Kina Patel from Analytics, we have Alexi from Global Data, and Francois from Bloomberg Customer Support. So welcome all of you. Thank you for joining us today as well. So can I start by asking you to introduce yourself, very kind of briefly, how long you've been at Bloomberg, which department, you work in, kind of in a bit more detail, and when did you graduate? Can we start with you, Kina?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So as Mathilde said, I am in the analytics department within Bloomberg. I currently sit in what we call the portfolio advanced team. So that's just my asset class focus. So I've chosen to specialize in a specific asset class. That happens when you're in analytics. And I've been at the company since September 2020. So I graduated last year in July 2020 and then started working. I also attended the Insight Week the year prior to that. So that's kind of my journey at Bloomberg. And I guess if I had to introduce myself in 5 words, I would say I asked for a poll for this answer because I was like, I'd rather ask for a poll than answer myself. I got enthusiastic, approachable, somewhat of a control freak, an extreme foodie, as well as very nerdy. So that would be my answer.
Great, thank you very much. Alexi or Francois, who wants to go next?
Sure. I can go next. Hi everyone. So I am Alexis Giardia, and I graduated similarly to Kina in July 2020. And I started, I joined Bloomberg in January this year, so it's been almost a month now. And I'm in the global data department as a data analyst. And my team is specialized into fixed income and structured products. So every asset-backed securities and, all the funky type of assets that have caused the financial crisis, that's more or less our coverage. So yeah, it's an exciting team, and I'm very happy to give you a brief introduction of global data.
Yeah. And five words to describe yourself. What would it be?
The 5 words. So I believe consistent, or at least data focused. There will be somehow something related to clarity and just being always tech savvy. And approachable as well is a very good one, because at Bloomberg we really like to speak to each other, and we're just very keen on discovering new faces every day. So yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. What about you, Francois?
Yeah, so my name is Francois. I've studied. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, cool. Sorry. So I've studied hospitality management, and I graduated in 2019. Before Bloomberg, I used to work in hotels, actually, in sales, and I joined Bloomberg in April 2020. So it's almost a year and a half now. And if I have to use 5 words, I would say passion, service, sense of humor, collaboration, and hard worker. So yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. And can we do a whole tour again of you three? And can you describe your day-to-day work? So I've described kind of the departments overall, etc. But just to understand a bit more, what's your day-to-day looks like, and also what you like the most about your job.
Yeah, sure, I'll go again. So like I said, I'm in the analytics department. So in analytics, we are the first line of support to customers, anything to do with the actual terminal. So that can range from someone, asking a query about how to open up their IB chats, which is instant Bloomberg messages, or it can be like very in-depth questions when you work yourself up into the department, which is the team I'm in, which would be like, how can you use the portfolio functionalities on Bloomberg in your current role? So that's probably most of our day. So that is we are like generally answering questions a lot, or we do client trainings. So a big part of our day is like actually visiting and doing virtual trainings with clients on specific functionality that they're interested in. So yeah, that's the short of it. And I think I really enjoy the visits. I'm actually going on a client visit after this. So that's an exciting thing that we do.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. So in the global data department, we're responsible for gathering as many data points as possible. So there will be part of the job that will be sourcing the data. Another part of the job will be inserting the data and making sure it's reliable. And I guess there will be another part which will be client-facing, like basically a bit of an interaction between the clients who directly ask you a specific question towards your type of asset. It will be as well collaboration with your product manager and your engineers, depending on whether or not you need to add additional functionalities or stuff like that, or data points. So this is like very, very diverse in terms of day-to-day job, depending on your team and your rotation within each of this team. So yeah.
What do you like the most about your job?
What do I like the most? I think it's whenever you make an update, or whenever you receive a document and you make an update on the terminal, it's live. As soon as you press enter, it's live for everyone, and so everyone can see what you've changed. And I think that's quite gratifying somehow to see your impact on the terminal.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Francois.
Yeah, so for BCS, the day-to-day changes a lot depending on where you're at with like your journey with us. So at the beginning, there is like you need to smash the calls in. So you come in and you need to take the calls and you need to show that you're the best at what you're doing. So you kind of like compete with the others in your team to see who is going to take the most calls in one day. And then after 5 or 6 months, you get to get involved into different type of project. So for example, I'm involved into the interviewing team, shadowing team, and also I manage now a group of vendors that we have based in South Africa that help us with the cover in BCS. Yeah, I think that's the part that I like the most about my job, because it's a nice peek into a managerial position, which I'm very interested in, and so I get to manage them on a day-to-day basis. And BCS, I think, is a great entry door within the company, because if you don't have a strong financial background or a tech background, BCS will give you like a great overview of the whole company. And I'm going to brag a little bit, but without BCS, Bloomberg would not be running, because we manage like we can resolve like 80% of all the requests that are coming into the department. So the scope of your knowledge needs to be quite broad, and you get exposed to a lot of departments. So I would strongly recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, without BCS, Bloomberg wouldn't run, and I guess the same with global data and analytics and engineering that we're not talking about today, and we all have so much impact into the client's journey, and yeah, you're right, like the first point of contact and answering so many queries from our clients. Just moving on to some of you have touched on the culture aspect of Bloomberg and how we work together and the collaboration piece, etc. Kina, can you elaborate more? Giving some examples of how you feel the different values I've actually touched on are actually you experience them in your day-to-day job.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you mentioned like collaboration, and then that's a really big one in terms of analytics and what we do, because we collaborate with sales, and that's just really like a salesperson could be at a client's office and being like, okay, but I can't actually solve the client's query. Like, how do I do this? And then they would reach out to someone in analytics, and then we would be there trying to help them through it. But I think it's more than that. It's just the ability to be able to reach out to anyone across the department, even across regions, like book a catch up in, and they'll be like happy to catch up, happy to talk, or if you have an interest in a particular avenue, it's like very open for you to be able to learn more. You just have to reach out, and people are generally just very friendly and welcoming in that way. And I also think that's because of mainly like how our office is set out. Like, we all congregate on the 6th floor, which is like the pantry, and you can meet anyone and grab a coffee and for a quick chat. And that's like one of the main things that I really wanted to be a part of when I was applying as well. Just being able to, talk to anyone regardless of age or tenure at the company, and learn from them.
Yeah. And I think that's also something you touched on, Alexi, right? Saying, we people being approachable and being able to go to even senior managers and, not making any difference. Basically, everybody sits on the same, desk boards, and so you can go and chat with them and ask questions whenever you have. Would you think?
Exactly. I think it's really cool to have this interaction, not just with internal people, but also with clients, and that's something that we've seen with my two colleagues as well. So it's really impactful on your day-to-day job.
Sure. And talking through the philanthropic aspect as well, which is so important into the way that we operate, and also the time that each employee has to actually spend time with the different societies and partners that we have. François, could you or any others, actually, if you have good examples of, François, of maybe Bob events that you've participated on, so the best of Bloomberg, so these initiatives with our partners?
I haven't actually taken part in any of those events because BCS we cannot take time off actually from the queue, which is unfortunate to participate in those events. But I know that there are lots of initiatives going on, especially like for all like the minorities, and also like to promote like women within Bloomberg, and that's something that I think is really important for a company, and I also recognize myself in those values. I know that you can, what I've done actually since last month, you can actually like donate also like to a charity of your choice, and that Bloomberg would match up that donation. So I think that's also like a very nice like gesture from the company to show its involvement into that area. But yeah, I'm sorry that you had to ask me this question because BCS, we can't take time off queue unfortunately to do this type of events.
I can just briefly describe one that's actually happening in analytics right now. We're doing a Bob event across the whole department on creating Christmas cards. And then we actually send the Christmas cards to various charities. And it's actually really cool because you get to do it with your team. And this year they have a lot more equipment than they did last year because we were all doing it remotely. So that's just something. We also do like bake-offs and stuff, and then send our proceeds as well.
Yeah, there's so many things that you can do. Like last week there was, or 2 weeks ago, there was also a workshop to help pack some goodies and kind of elementary goodies for refugees as well, and putting that into bags for the association, then to be able to spread that to the different points they had. But also there is kind of a planting trees initiatives, lots of things going on with the Christmas time as well. So lots of different initiatives that you can actually take part of. Can we just move into more of the application process, and how to if you don't have a financial background, how can you apply to different roles, different departments? François, can you actually start by telling us how you've moved from kind of the hospitality into Bloomberg?
Well, COVID happened, so I've lost my job in hospitality, unfortunately. So I had to kind of like reshuffle my cards. And where I used to work before, Bloomberg was one of my accounts. So I used to come to the office to meet with the travel manager. And I've always, like the first time I came to the office, I was like, wow, this place is fantastic. And then I came back to where I used to work, and I told my manager, yeah, one day I'm going to work for Bloomberg. And he was like, yeah, keep on dreaming, because that will never happen. And then when I lost my job, actually, I went on the website and I found this, the BCS role. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try my luck and just apply. And the thing that helped me a lot is that the sense of service that I had, because I did hospitality management and I worked in hotels and then in the HQ. And like, if you have that sense of service and you can talk to a client and you are curious enough and you are interested, then you have a chance with us. We don't expect you to have a strong financial knowledge or a strong technological background, because we're going to teach you all of that. It's just like the attitude that we are looking for, the right attitude, for the right fit also like within the team. And yeah, like the sense of service, like I cannot stress that enough, because we want to make sure that we deliver exceptional customer service to all of our clients. They can be internal or external as well. So that's something that we are really keen on. And do your research on the company, like simple research on the company and the type of product that we have, because definitely going to ask you questions on that.
Yeah, and there is lots of content out there, right? If it is on our website, on different different videos we have out there on targetjobs, just to mention this one. But there is lots of content and the different services that we have, and I guess attending this type of events as well to learn more. But coming in without kind of the either financial knowledge or the technical background. So you'll see on the different job requisition that we have online and on Target Jobs website as well. We ask for at least the interest in finance, or at least the interest in technology, if you do have the knowledge in finance for global data, for example. Because as you've said, François, we do have a very strong kind of learning path and learning kind of curriculum as you join Bloomberg. So if we're able to identify within your answers and your motivation the ability to kind of grow your skills into these areas, then that could be fine. But again, we you know, if you have the knowledge and the strong background into that, that's even also interesting for us. There, I'm sure, lots of things that you can still learn, and you can still learn from the job, but from the curriculum that we have available as well. So definitely, you know, just to say that if you don't have kind of the degree in finance or the degree in tech, you can still apply to these roles that we have full-time within analytics, within BCS, or within global data. So please feel free to do so if you feel that your motivation is strong enough to learn on that hand. Kina and Alexi, maybe can you talk us through what's the learning journey actually since you joined?
Alexi, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I think the learning journey is very, very steep at the beginning. You arrive in a company, and we put you in front of a terminal with you know, a very funny keyboard, and I'm not sure if you've already seen this kind of keyboards. But yeah, you need to understand what he's doing, and this is the first part of the steep learning curve. You need to understand about finance. You need to understand everything your team is working on, the different tools that you're working on, which some of them are very funny very funny to master. But you know, it's interesting. You have like all your colleagues that are supporting you in this process, and you're not the first one to go through it. So you know, we all know how to teach the basics, and you know, if we're all there today, we survived through it. So it's something that that we can all manage. And but yeah, every day you keep learning a new function, or like new functionalities, new financial terms, or you understand some new concepts every day, which is something that is quite amazing. And Bloomberg also like really encourage us to keep learning. Like they will support us, you know, in our learning journey. May it be on like internal course, but also external courses as well. So it's a really a supportive company in that sense.
Yeah, in analytics we have more of a like formal teaching kind of within your first 6 months of the company. So you have like your first 4 to 6 weeks are just generally you in training, and that's you just like upskilling yourself on the terminal. But for me, it was actually really interesting because I don't come from a finance background. So that's really where I kind of got up to speed with all my colleagues in terms of like financial knowledge. So I didn't feel like I was like flailing and not understanding when someone said the word a bond, and I was like, wait, what is a bond? Like, what are we referring to? So you have your first 4 weeks, and then you go into you have mentoring throughout your time in analytics. That's within your team. You have mentors outside your team, so you have specific points of contact in the department for specific functionality. And then those people kind of aid you and help you throughout your journey. So we have like a dozen chats that can help you if you don't know what you're doing, and you know you need some extra support. As well as after that, then you choose an asset class, and then once you choose an asset class, you then have upskilling training on that specific asset class. So that's fixed income, equity, commodity, port, like myself. And then you can decide sort of which avenue you want to go into, whether that's one of our trading teams or one of like our product teams. So there is like kind of a constant learning process, and that is formal teaching. So we have like teaching within classrooms within the company, but when I joined, it was all remote. So it was kind of like a lecture, and then you have your exams. So yeah, a little bit of everything really.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. And just Alexi, just to add on to that you know, the e-learning kind of resources that you have available within global data, you know, having if you for example have the financial background but still have to kind of grow your skills into the tech, then there is this curriculum, you know, for kind of your first 2 years to grow your skills into that. And the other way around, if you come more with a technical background but wants to grow your skills into the finance piece, then there is this area of more, as you were saying, Kina, more formal but still, you know, online kind of training. Just what would be your advice to a candidate applying for any of the kind of, you know, internship and full-time role, as the process would be longer than actually the inside week? What would be your advice from, you know, one advice from each of you, you know, what a candidate should do to be successful in the recruitment process? Kina, do you want to start?
Sure. I think one of the things that came up a lot is just, why I want to specifically join Bloomberg. That was like a question that really came up a lot in my interview process, and it's about like actually knowing the company you're going to be joining. What are their values? What are some things that draw you into those values? So just preparing yourself to answer that, because there are a lot of opportunities out there. So specifically, why are you tailored to this one, and why do you think you're going to perform well? Would be my biggest advice. So I did like a lot of research on the company and came in with my facts during my Insight Week interview, but as well as just showing your passion, if that's within sales and analytics, that's just your passion for interacting with clients and being able to interact with clients. Yeah, that would be my advice.
Great, thank you. François?
Yeah, I would say if you can relate like to previous experience or whatever, use as many examples as you can, because it always goes down a long way. And the other tips I would give is like if you can get in touch with someone who's working in that department and ask them questions and see if you can get an insight, because you will see straight away the interview.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was about to say
Alex?
the same. Having a
Sorry.
coffee with no, but having a coffee or just trying to speak with someone in the company is a very good way to know more about the company, the culture, and their role. So that's one of the main advice, and I guess also just finding a way with your own words to express an interest in finance. That's, I think, even if you don't have any understanding of finance, which is the case for many people, at least show that you're interested in it, or at least, you need to show the recruiter. Yeah, go on.
No, I was just going to say there are so many ways that you can, showcase your motivation. If it's, through your training you're actually taking on your, solo outside of university. If it's the news that you're following. If it's anything that you can, tailor in your CV as well that showcase that motivation. If it's anything that you do, again, extra curriculum, extra, out of your studies, but also in the different, I don't know, internships that you've done. So anything that you can tailor there would be of interest. And I guess my advice as a recruiter would be to make sure that you structure your answers. So many times still we see candidates failing during the recruitment process because they have all of the good intentions, but they were not able to actually articulate their motivations, or that actually didn't came across well or as they wanted. And it's basically a lack of structure usually of, work the answers before coming to the interview. Why do you want to work for Bloomberg? Why do you want to work in the fintech area? Why do you want to do this role particularly? What have you understood this role is going to be about? What are you going to be doing on your day-to-day work? And come with like bullet points. I think it's great to see that candidates have come, prepared to an interview, and it's fine to come with notes. The only thing that we wouldn't like to see on the other end is someone that is prepared but actually reading from notes, so we don't actually see the genuine interest into the role or into the company. So I guess it's about finding that right balance between preparation and still coming across as genuinely interested. That's something that comes from you rather than from your notes. So yeah, anything that you can prepare in advance and try to structure so we have the message very clearly during the interview would be important, especially as the recruitment process is comprised of several steps. So you might be asked, the same questions around motivation, around the interest for Bloomberg, etc., several times, and you want to make sure that this come across kind of the same way at each round. So just my advice as a recruiter. Just to finish with, and then we'll move on to the question from the crowd. Can you, each of you, give me the top advice, the best advice you've ever received, that you actually think of so often now in your day-to-day work or in the way that you choose your, employer, etc. Just the best advice you've received.
Ask
It's gonna
questions.
sound, yeah, I had the same. Just ask questions. And don't be afraid like to reach out to people to ask questions. Like there is like no silly questions, and if you want to know something, then yeah, just the best way to have the answer. So yeah, ask questions.
Yeah, mine would be in the same vein. Someone once told me it's not always about what you know, but about who you know. And that's really
Yeah.
really good advice, because you're not going to know everything. So, actually reaching out and knowing people who can help you and collaborating with them is essentially what we're known to do.
Yeah. And I guess that, goes back to the collaboration aspect of the way that we work together. Like, you'll not be the only one basically operating at Bloomberg. You have lots of support from all different team members. So leverage that as much as you can. Great, thank you very much. So trying to have enough time for the questions. So we've had a few questions in terms of the different opportunities that we have available. So again, go and have a look on our website, career website, or on Target Jobs, our page as well. You'll see all of our opportunities there. Sorry. In terms of the full-time opportunities, we do have full-time openings for the 3 teams that we've been presenting today. And also there might be some roles open for the engineering team, so have a look into our website for that. In terms of the requirements, they'll all be into the job description every time, but I'll say, just if I had to gather, for example, maybe analytics and sales and the global data full-time opportunity that we have, or internship as well, we're looking for people with at least an interest in the financial markets. For global data, more particularly, at least an interest into technology, so having experience with either Python, R, or SQL would be as well an advantage. Also, we look for skills into kind of client engagement, so the ability to engage with our clients if it's servicing them, but also for global data, more of the sourcing aspects of the data. So that kind of stakeholder management piece is something that we look at as well. Of course, when it comes to the data management process, so kind of some experience with working with large amounts of data for global data, and some kind of also sales ability, I guess, for analytics and sales, that ability again to identify and spot opportunities when discussing with clients as well. So that's also the type of skills that we're looking for. In terms of the language skills, we do have some language requirements for each of the teams. So we might have some openings that would be for specific teams and specific languages, language coverage, but we are also open to I'll say what we call kind of all languages. We do have roles that do not require language specifically, so all candidates are welcome for these roles. So in terms of the full-time and the internship, just want to reiterate, given we're in that situation of, Brexit and the new kind of working environment in the UK, we do sponsor for visa. So do not worry about that for all of our roles here. So Bloomberg Customer Support, Analytics and Sales, and for Global Data, we do sponsor for visa. So that's not a problem there. But again, it will be mentioned in the job description that you apply to. Can I have one of you actually discuss what the work-life balance is at Bloomberg? Yeah, maybe actually each of you. How do you feel about the work-life balance?
I think sorry, go for it.
Go ahead, François.
I think it depends on what you want to make it. In BCS, like, there are some people that don't want to get too much involved, so they just come in and they take their course and that's it. If you want to do well, if you want to be involved into different projects, then yeah, the job becomes more interesting and stressful as well. But you do your 8 or 9 hour shift, and then after that you can enjoy life, and yeah, especially now that everything is reopened. I mean, I don't know for how long, but I think it just. Yeah, it depends. Yeah, I think to be fair, for me, it works great. So yeah, working hard, party hard.
Yeah, go for it.
I think for global data, it's more or less the same. You only have 8 to 6 hours. So I mean, you start at 8 and you finish at 6, and you have your 1 hour break for lunch. And yeah, I think it's great work-life balance, and everyone will be super supportive if you have any particular reasons as to why you need to leave early work or something like that. So yeah, just be yeah, just express whatever you need, and people will understand. So it's really great, at least in my department. But I believe it's the same for the other teams.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same hours for analytics as well. And I think what you find is your friends suddenly become your colleagues, and your colleagues your friends, and there's a bit of a blurry line there. So it's quite nice being in a company where it's just like a lot of people, like young people and even old people as well. But like in the sense that you join at the same time, so you get really close to the people in your cohort, and so you like spend time with them after work and stuff like that, and it makes the job a lot more fun when you're doing it with people you actually just genuinely get on with. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And again, so in terms of the start date, so we do hire, across the year at different time of the year for analytics and sales program. We do have set dates, but then we have a start date almost every month. So it's just that we have everybody, as Kina was talking about, going through the same training program at the beginning of their full-time job. So this is why we have a set date for global data. We try to have them join in bulk, even if there is no such a kind of a training to go through as you join. It's more kind of within your first 3 months, you'll have a 2-week training program in the classroom. But so we try to have people join as a cohorts as well. But yeah, it could be joining different sub-team within global data. In terms of, we had a question on, can you give your advice for people that are unsure about what they exactly want to do after uni? Have you experienced that yourself, and how did you actually navigate to that, like to find out what you wanted to do? Kina, I see you were noting. Do you
Yeah,
want to?
I think it's really important to just like try a bunch of things. And it's actually more important to kind of know what you don't want to do as well, as important as it is to know what you want to do. So my advice would just be like try different things out, do insight weeks, try get in touch with companies or people who are in jobs that you might consider, and just talk to them and see if their day-to-day sounds like what you want your day-to-day to look like. That would kind of be my advice.
Alexi, you are nodding as well. Any advice from you?
I think it's asking questions, and it's try to understand what the people are doing in the job, or have a catch up with them and understand. Ask them question, what are the things that they like, the things that they don't like, and maybe you will identify yourself to these people, and that might make you want to join the company or not. So I think that would be my advice.
Yeah. And something that could be interesting as well, and is, identify within your kind of modules, what is it that you really enjoy doing? And what do you see in the different job requisition that you think would be kind of matching this? And so you're able, to kind of maximize the duties, what you'll be doing would be something that you actually enjoy doing. So that is, I think, what I'll go through. Like, what is it that I really like in this and this module, and or this extracurriculum activities, etc. We've had questions on how to gain knowledge in the financial markets if I come from more of a technical background. So before joining Bloomberg, do you have any advice for that?
Bloomberg News. No, but just check the website, to be fair. No, but it's true. Like, just have a look on the website, and I think you can also take the BMC course. Is it available as well online? And we have there are quite a few resources to get yourself trained on financial market. I think it's called the BMC. I'm not sure if it's available. Yeah, I think it's available online.
The Bloomberg Market Concept. So yes, so that's the training that you can get if your university, for example, has a terminal lab. So if they have terminal access at the university, this is, if you type the function BMC, you should have access to that. And so that's an ability to kind of go through the different asset class and how we navigate data for each of these asset classes and the functions. So you'll get a little bit of knowledge there. So that's something you can do. And of course, going through the financial news and understanding how a news, just an overall kind of economical news can have an impact on the financial markets. What's the consequences if you draw the conclusion up until the end? How that, you know, how the COVID affects the financial markets, how that the shortage in gas would affect the financial markets, and etc. It's making sure that you understand these relationships, and this is what we're actually looking for in the interview process. We've had questions asking if there is potential to actually move from one department to the other. The question is yes, and we do encourage our employees to move actually within the organization. We just have a rule of a minimum of 18 months within the role to be able to join a different role outside of their department. And of course, to apply, we have a system where you have to actually apply to the different role and go through the recruitment process of that specific role. But yeah, we do encourage internal mobility within the different groups and across the different groups. We had a question that comes actually quite often in this type of session, if we can apply to different roles at the same time, so analytics and sales and global data or Bloomberg customer support, all of them at the same time. My advice as a recruiter would be to focus on a department one at a time. So it's just that, you know, we have to understand where your motivation, you know, lies and what you want to do, where do you want to grow. Even if we do look for similar skills, I'll say the career path is still different if you're joining, you know, global data or Bloomberg customer support or analytics and sales. So it's important for us, and if you're applying to all of the roles at the same time, we might just feel a bit unsure about what your, you know, interest is and what your motivation is for a specific role. So I'll say that maybe focus one at a time. You're only anyway going to be able to go through one process at a time, and if we identify within the recruitment process that, you know, you're more suitable to another department, we will reroute you to that other department as we work very closely together within the recruitment team. So we would really advise you to apply to one at a time. If you're graduating in 2022 and you have the right skills to get on to the full-time role, we would highly advise to apply for the full-time role instead of the internship, just because, again, if you've got the right skills, you're graduating, then you're able to take on the full-time role and you don't need to go through the internship before that. But this is a conversion program that we have for the internship. So after the 10 weeks, if you've been successful and if you're interested as well, we would offer a full-time position to join for the same year, or the year after, so in 2023, throughout the year again. Okay. All right, thank you very much, everyone. We're just a little bit over time now. Thank you, that was really insightful. I thought, I'm, you know, coming with a lot of different backgrounds. I hope that everyone in the audience could actually grasp a good amount of information. Thank you very much again for all of you attending today, and hope to see your application soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.